Okay, let's talk about the future. If you're looking to literally future-proof your creative career, in an age where technology and ecology are shifting beneath our feet every single day, you are in exactly the right place. Today's explainer is a deep dive into a professional blueprint that is completely redefining what it means to be a creator today. We're unpacking the master philosophy of the Adam School of Arts, or ASA, and their incredibly innovative co-creator paradigm. Listen, this isn't just about making pretty things anymore. It's about cultivating what they call transdisciplinary creative intelligence, which, yeah, is basically a very fancy way of saying you know how to seamlessly blend art, tech, and science. And considering the World Economic Forum estimates millions of traditional jobs are going to be displaced by AI in the next few years, mastering that blend is pretty much the ultimate career cheat code. Let's dive in. Right out of the gate, ASA drops this profound core philosophy. They draw inspiration from the absolute genesis of human consciousness. Adam is framed as the first architect, the architect of language, of culture, of art. But they aren't looking backward with rose-tinted glasses here. They look backward for roots and forward for branches. The modern creative professional? You're no longer just an architect. You're a co-architect. You are actively collaborating with algorithms, with complex biological systems, and with global communities. It is a massive, fundamental shift in how we define human agency. So, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to hit the co-creator paradigm, break down the 5 pillars of future art, walk through the ARTS architecture, explore the triad model, and finally wrap up with the Genesis project. All right, Section 1, the co-creator paradigm, shifting the professional landscape. You know the old trope, right? For centuries, the professional art world idolized the solitary figure, the starving, tortured genius working entirely alone in some drafty attic. Well, the future demands a co-creator. Today's professional is a node in a transdisciplinary network. This paradigm brilliantly takes our common professional anxieties, like, say, the looming fear of AI or the totally overwhelming pressure of climate change, and reframes them into actual tools for collaborative agency. It turns isolation into dynamic, network-based innovation. You're not alone anymore. You're part of a massive, interconnected system. Which brings us to Section 2, the 5 pillars of future art. This is the structural foundation of the whole thing. These 5 pillars are woven directly into every single class and project at the school. We've got symbiotic creativity, regenerative practice, cognitive pluralism, digital global citizenship, and futures literacy. Notice how they weave deep ecological consciousness right alongside future prototyping? Take regenerative practice, for example. It demands that your work actually participates in healing the planet, not just commenting on it. And futures literacy? That trains you to treat the future like a piece of clay you can actively sculpt, rather than a solid brick wall you're inevitably going to crash into. Let's zoom in on that first pillar, because it is absolutely crucial right now. Symbiotic creativity treats human-AI collaboration as a native language. It takes that sheer panic of, is AI going to replace me, and flips it into a highly sought-after, co-creative professional skill. You aren't competing with the machine, okay? You are directing it, critiquing it, co-creating with it. It extends your imagination, sure, but the ethical judgment and the actual intention, that remains irreducibly human. And I am literally obsessed with this next pillar, cognitive pluralism. The school formally embraces neurodiversity, things like ADHD, autism, or dyslexia, as actual creative infrastructure. They treat cognitive variance as a major asset, not a deficit. Whether your brain thrives on intense hyperfocus cycles or you have incredibly unique spatial reasoning, that is treated as vital infrastructure for innovation. The creative mind isn't a monolith, and treating it like one only stifles professional growth. Moving right along to Section 3, the AERTS module architecture, building the framework. Think of this as the complete life cycle of your development. The curriculum is built on a progression of 5 sequence modules. It kicks off with awareness, where you discover your own neurocognitive traits and creative cycles. Then, enlightenment maps out technical ways of seeing the world. Reason challenges you to find your true purpose. Talent takes all that impulsive creative energy and focuses it into a concrete path. And finally, specialty, where you actually master regenerative economics and business management. It's a full journey from internal discovery straight through to external professional impact. Now, animating all 5 of those modules is what they call the AERTS spine. These are 5 cross-cutting competencies you engage with at every single stage: AI literacy, climate literacy, data ethics, global fluency, and somatic intelligence. And that last one really just means actually paying attention to how your body physically responds to your work environment, instead of just, grinding away at a desk for 12 hours straight. It ensures you develop into a well-rounded, capable future architect, no matter what craft you ultimately master. During that reason module I mentioned, you are hit with this essential, rapid-fire sequence of questions. Why art? Why this art? Why me? Why now? Why here? It's a phenomenal way to challenge you to map your own craft directly to planetary needs. Students literally link their work to specific UN Sustainable Development Goals and conduct ethical supply chain audits into their tools. It absolutely forces you to define your non-replicable value proposition in an age where machine-generated content is virtually infinite. Okay, Section 4, Mastering the Triad Model, the T-shaped creative. This happens in the talent module. So the triad model is this incredibly clever strategy for building a highly impactful hybrid career path. It forces you to combine three distinct things: a deep primary craft, a broad technology amplifier, and a specific impact domain. For instance, a student might take the traditional craft of painting, amplify it with a cutting-edge tech of biodesign, and apply it directly to climate communication. Or maybe you take dance, amplify it with XR authoring, and aim it at public health. Or mix sculpture with generative AI for urban resilience. You become deeply skilled in tradition, totally fluent in tech, and fiercely committed to societal impact. Talk about a way to stand out professionally, right? But once you have your triad, you've got to know how to sustain it. That's where the specialty module comes in. This is all about creating wealth ethically. You learn circular business models, where waste is literally eliminated from the start. You study DAOs, which are essentially internet-native co-ops, so you can be a collective owner of a platform rather than just an exploited content creator. You also get into impact tokenization and SROI. SROI just means calculating the actual social good your project creates, not just the financial profit. It guarantees your business model is as resilient and regenerative as your art. Finally, Section 5, the Genesis Project Capstone, the finished structure. To actually graduate, every student has to pull off a massive Genesis project that meets 5 incredibly strict criteria. First, you must co-create with non-human intelligence, proving that you are the one directing the system. You have to address a highly specific, documented community or ecological need. You must provide a totally transparent sustainability audit of your materials. The work has to be presented in both physical and digital dimensions. And lastly, you write a manifesto of co-creation. This whole project is the undeniable, measurable proof that you've transformed from a learner into a true co-architect. And honestly, what I find truly inspiring here is that ASA demands as much of itself as it does of its students. The school commits to fully carbon-neutral operations, so they are actively modeling the exact regenerative practices they teach. They run a creative futures lab that blends traditional craft with biohacking and VR. They forge global and local ethical partnerships, and they use living portfolio assessments, verifying these projects on the blockchain. By doing all this, they ensure that the long-term impact of these methods is actively contributing to global environmental health for decades to come. If you take away just one thing from this entire explainer today, let it be this: art for the sake of the living planet. We are way past creating art just for art's sake. The co-creator paradigm equips professionals to heal, challenge, and totally reimagine the systems that govern our world. It ensures that human creativity remains a massive, undeniable force for global environmental health and ethical futurism. You are no longer just a solitary figure trying to survive whatever the future throws at you. You have the tools, you have the network, and you have the blueprint to actually author it. Which leaves us with one final essential question to chew on today. What future will you choose to architect? Think about your craft, think about your technology, think about your impact. The blueprint is right there, waiting for you to start building.